Hello and welcome to the National Debate. I'm Madhavdas G. Viewers, the last few days have been extremely disturbing. A trainee doctor brutalized in the RG Kar hospital in Bengal. Injuries across her head, face, neck, arms and genitals. A crime so brutal that the events that followed was so chilling that even the top court of the country expressed anguish over this case. Then came the shocker from Badlapur, where minor girls were sexually assaulted. It took angry protests for action to finally follow. The heart-wrenching incidents have mobilized a Nirbhaya-like movement across the country, an organic campaign where people are fighting back, fighting for the justice of our betis. The courts have intervened, stepping in to highlight the glaring lapses in both these cases. The top court took suo motu cognizance of the Bengal rape, questioning the sequence and timing of legal formalities conducted by the police there. The Supreme Court bench said it was very surprising that the post-mortem of the deceased was conducted on August 9th between 6:10 p.m. to 7:10 p.m., much before the registration of the case as an unnatural death, in complete violation of due process. But if that was the callousness and impunity of the Bengal government, there was criminal apathy in Badlapur too. The parents of the minor were made to sit for 12 hours as the police refused to even file an FIR. It took 6 days, massive protests, for finally the action to take place.
One thing, therefore, which is very clear is that the cordoning off and the preservation of the crime scene takes place after the post-mortem report is conducted. This is what the GD entry itself says.
Mr. Sibbal,
Yeah.
just tell us from your record at what time the post-mortem was performed.
6:10 to 7:10 p.m.
In the evening,
Yes,
correct?
correct.
When you are taking the dead body
Yes.
for the purpose of performing post-mortem,
Yes.
is it a case of unnatural death or not? If it is not a case of unnatural death, why do you have to perform the post-mortem?
So this is not general diary entry. What is,
That is what DD is. That's
not
what it-
somebody has lost the
That's
life.
according to the
Don't
rules.
at least laugh.
One second. According
at
to the
least
rules
laugh.
Maharaj, that we follow,
A girl has
these
lost her
regulations we've
life
done in accordance.
in a most inhuman
That's
and
not-
undignified manner.
Let's take this across to our guest now. Joining us is Dr. Shashi Panja, Minister in charge of Industry, Commerce and Enterprise and Women and Child Development and Social Welfare in the government of West Bengal and national spokesperson of the TMC. Also joining us from outside the studio is Susieben Shah, who's a spokesperson of the Shiv Sena Shinde faction and also happens to be the chairperson of the Maharashtra State Commission for Protection of Child Rights. Thank you so much for joining us. Also with us in the studio is Rohan Gupta, national spokesperson of the BJP. Prathibha Prahlad, renowned artist and Padma Shri awardee, is with us here. Miran Borwankar, former IPS officer, joins us in the studio. Niharika Karanjawala is a principal associate at the Karanjawala and Company law firm. Rami Desai, author, is with us. Mumtaz Patel, leader of the Congress party, also joins us here, as does Dr. Seema Malik, national spokesperson of the NCP Sharad Pawar faction. Thank you so much, I guess, for joining us. But before I come across to you, let's quickly take a look at what really has happened in this entire case. The first is what the Supreme Court has told the Bengal government. The Supreme Court's observations are that why was there a delay in the filing of an FIR by the police? They've also asked why a post-mortem before the FIR on unnatural death. They've gone on to also ask, is it a post-mortem only done if the death is unnatural? Why is the conduct of the assistant superintendent so doubtful is another question that's being asked. They also asked why wasn't the crime scene secured before the post-mortem? They've also asked why there was a delay in the taking of the statement of the victim's family, as well as the assistant superintendent's conduct is doubtful is a statement that has been made. Let's also look at Badlapur. What exactly has transpired over there? These are the big lapses that have come to the fore. A delay in the filing of the FIR in a POCSO case. There's also no female staff in the school itself when it came to the girls' washroom. The next lapse is that there was no background check done of the accused, who was a substitute at that point of time, or a replacement that was done by the school. The girls' toilet in a secluded area, no CCTVs as far as the security aspect outside the washroom and those areas also that have been observed when it comes to Badlapur. Let's take a quick look at what's transpired between the two states, because there's so many similarities in these cases. In Badlapur, the FIR was filed 12 hours after the complaint was made in a POCSO case. In Kolkata, the FIR filed 14 hours after the incident takes place. The High Court asked in the case of Badlapur why there was no immediate action against the school. The Supreme Court questions the cops for the delay in securing the crime scene. In Badlapur, the High Court has asked why the statement of the second victim was not recorded several days after the crime. In Kolkata, the post-mortem was done before the filing of unnatural death case. Also, in this case, the action taken was delayed. 3 cops suspended there. SIT constituted after 7 days. In Kolkata, the principal and staff suspended after 13 days. There's also the aspect of the political hand that has been claimed. In Badlapur, the Maharashtra government claimed that there was a political hand in protest. In Kolkata, the West Bengal government blamed the left, the BJP, the Congress, etc. for the hospital vandalism and the protests that were taking place. We've also seen that over 70 arrests took place. FIR filed against 300 for violent protests in Badlapur. In Kolkata, 37 arrested. Notice to 60 in the RG car vandalism case. Let's quickly take this across to Shashi Panja first of the TMC. Ma'am, there are very, very serious questions that are coming in from the Supreme Court. They're asking questions as to why the unnatural death case was filed after the post-mortem, why the crime scene was not properly secured. As far as the investigation itself, some very, very serious lapses, very serious questions of what was going on, not only as far as the police is concerned, but also in terms of the principal himself. The manner in which he at least appears to be, or that's the allegation, that he's being protected, why action is not being taken. He still continues to be an OSD after the High Court's order saying send him on leave. What really is going on in this case is a big question.
Madhavji, yesterday there was a 10-page order from the Supreme Court after the hearing concluded yesterday. And Supreme Court has again given a long date, which is on 5th September, when it will hear again. So what did Supreme Court hear on yesterday was, CBI was to file a status report on the status of the investigation, since you are aware that the investigation has been handed over to CBI 3 days after the incident. So it's now almost 10-11 days that they have assumed charge of the investigation. What was the status? They were to report yesterday. The state government had to report about the the vandalism which took place in the RG Medical College campus on 14th of August. So as we understand, of course we are all very horrified. We too are also very anguished. We do not support this kind of crimes which have taken place, especially, the state itself never also bragged or took accolades when Kolkata was, by the NCRB records, were said that for 3 consecutive years that Kolkata was the safest city. We never we never bragged about. So what did we see? That the state council, that is the council on behalf of the government of West Bengal, nobody is defending the incident, was just, he laid bare, threadbare the timelines which were mentioned. And let us not get into the technicalities, because that is something which the Supreme Court is hearing. But
Madam,
since you
when
mentioned,
a Supreme Court judge says, Mr. Justice Pardiwala says, for 30 years, I haven't seen a case where the CRPC has been violated like this. It's a shocking case. It's not a routine case, madam, because, I understand you have to defend the state government, but this is the Supreme Court so incensed they've taken so much action.
Anything. We are not defending the crime, Madhav. Allow me to complete.
No, but the investigation you have to take responsibility for, ma'am.
Crimes against women and children cannot be battlegrounds for us. What the State Council has mentioned is, since you mentioned the technical issues, that this entire case diary was placed and mentions that the GD entry 576 at the local Thana, Tala, was at 10:10 a.m. and that the Kolkata police proceeded to register the UD, the unnatural death case, by 1:45 p.m. under case number 861/2024. And then is that the postmortem, which was done between 6 to 7, and then returning with that report, which everybody is quoting, is that 11:30 p.m. The lawyer is the legal counsel.
Ma'am, but the timeline itself exposes the laxity of the police, because you have not secured the crime scene. You have done the post-mortem before the filing of the unnatural death case.
No,
all these are clear violations of procedure.
No.
Let me bring in the IPS officer on the panel, Miran Borwakar. Is this normal? How often do we hear Supreme Court so anguished about the case, pointing out procedural lapses? Because clearly the system has not just failed the victim when the crime occurred, but even in terms of the investigation, there are very, very glaring lapses and questions that are emerging from Kolkata.
Well, if it's not contempt of the court, I would say at this stage we need not make any remarks. We should listen to the police side also and then come to any conclusion. I think it's premature to talk of investigation being of poor quality.
It's premature. It's premature. Does the BJP agree with that? Rohan
I
Gupta.
absolutely don't agree with that. I think this incident is a sheer display of insensitivity and misuse of power by any government after independence, and Supreme Court has rightly made the comments. See, Madhav, you need to understand how the whole incident has happened. First day when this incident happened, the parents of that girl or the doctor, they received the call that your daughter was unwell. After 15 minutes, they received the call that she has committed suicide. They rushed to the hospital. They were kept waiting for 3 years, 3 hours, and then the dead body was given. FIR was not filed till then. Post-mortem was also not done. So what was happening? After that, then CBI had to, High Court had to tell government, what are you doing? The case was handed over to CBI. After that, the doctor protested against that. Then also the voice was crushed. What was government doing? Was just trying to crush this issue, just to put pressure कि anyhow हमारा image नहीं खराब होना चाहिए, इस issue को खत्म करो. उन डॉक्टर के ऊपर हमला होता है. फिर भी जो गवर्नमेंट है उसको डिफेंड करती है कि नहीं, उन डॉक्टर में भी हमारे खिलाफ लोग थे. This was not the time to take politics. वो जाने दीजिए. उसके बाद में सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जब ये केस जाता है, कौन डिफेंड करता है? इंडी गठबंधन के एक नेता जो है एमपी, उसको डिफेंड करते हैं. ही वाज लाफिंग इन द कोर्ट एंड द कोर्ट जज हैज टू से व्हाट आर यू डूइंग. ये समय नहीं है हंसने का. और मुझे एक चीज बताइए कि इंडी गठबंधन जो एक गठबंधन बना है, उसके एक नेता, द होल कंट्री इज वाचिंग दैट देयर आर सीरियस लैप्सेस बाय द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, देयर आर सीरियस लैप्सेस बाय द पुलिस देयर. हाउ कैन ही डिफेंड देम और हाउ कैन ही रिप्रेजेंट देम? देयर इज अ मॉरल रिस्पांसिबिलिटी. वन मोर थिंग, देयर लीडर अधीर रंजन चौधरी, he requested कपिल सिब्बल के प्लीज, आप लोगों का विरोध है, प्लीज इस केस को मत लड़िए. फिर भी कुछ नहीं होता है.
Just one small correction there. I believe it was Tushar Mehta, the Solicitor General, who corrected him when he was laughing. But I'd like to bring Mumtaz Patel on that. There are questions about Mr. Sibbal. Of course, the SG has objected to his laughing in the court, but there are serious questions as to what really is going on. In fact, the Supreme Court Bar Association, not only has Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary objected to him, defending the West Bengal government, so on and so forth in this case, but they also the Supreme Court Bar Association distancing from his comments that have been made in this case, saying that it was not made on behalf of the Supreme Court. So Mr. Sibbal appears to be under the spotlight in this case, particularly in terms of what has transpired inside the Supreme Court. Mumtaz Patel.
Yeah, absolutely, but we're again politicizing this. It's not again that who said what. The idea is ultimately to bring justice to the victim, and this is not the time for us to be blaming anyone, because this is a very serious issue. It's a national issue. It is for all the women in this country. So again, like I say, why this whataboutery? It's fine. We don't want to get into this mudslinging thing. Supreme Court has made very scathing observations, and let's stick to and focus to the justice system now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's focus on the justice system. Rami Desai, you agree with that contention? Why mudslinging? Why politics? Certainly in an ideal world, there should be no politics. There has to be consensus on all issues. I wish we were all in agreement. But there's also a question of accountability. Who's going to hold these state governments accountable? It isn't about BJP, Congress, TMC or Shiv Sena. There are members of all the political parties represented here. If people feel they are wrong, do they not have a right to protest? And should political parties then, who are representatives, not take up those causes?
Madhav, absolutely, I agree with you. But here's the thing, as much as I agree with my co-panelists that this is a larger issue and, women's rights and justice must take precedence over politics. But here's my problem with West Bengal. It seems like in West Bengal, any sort of issues that is related to women, crime against women, has now become institutionalized. We tend to look at things very piecemeal. We are looking at this piecemeal as well. But it was not long ago when Sandesh Khali happened. What happened in Sandesh Khali? The entire party backed up Shahjah Sheikh. Shahjah Sheikh was on the run for over a month. To the extent, and I'd written an article on this, Madhav, to the extent when I spoke to people on ground, they said, ma'am, this is only one Sandesh Khali. There are multiple like this. There were women in Sandesh Khali who said, we don't bring our daughter-in-laws into these areas. We send them to Madhya Pradesh because we know what will happen. When one woman went to file an FIR against what had happened against her, she was told by the police, go and get some sort of a go-ahead from Shahjah Sheikh, who was prime accused in that. So, what I'm saying is this is an institutionalized problem that we have in West Bengal, which is why it sets it apart from all other cases. The other point here is, even in this case, who is protecting the main accused, RG Kar Hospital's principal. We know very well that he's been shifted from one position to another, and today he is OSD of the Health Ministry, which comes under Mamata Banerjee. How has he become so important? And I believe this is one of the questions that the Apex Court asked, that how
Absolutely.
has he become so important
Yeah.
that the whole government machinery is backing him up?
Shashi
What
Panja.
is that message that goes out
Let
to
Shashi
women?
Panja respond to that. Two very significant questions coming in from Ramit Desai here, Shashi Panja. One is that West Bengal is different because it's institutionalized is her claim, and that's her charge. And secondly, what's the obsession with protecting this principal? Somebody who's being investigated, he resigns, then he's posted to the National College. And later, of course, now after the court says send him on leave, he's made an OSD in the health department. Why is this person, Sandeep Ghosh, being protected by the state government is a question that's being asked here.
Yes, allow me. Madhav, do show me the notification which shows that he's been posted as the OSD in the government of West Bengal,
Are you
in the
denying
Department of Health and Family Welfare. There
you
is
denying
no notification. He has, of course, this has been falsely said. There is no notification. He has been removed. He's on an extraordinary leave. You know that. He's been told that. Second, so this, let's not, continue. This is misinformation. I am telling you, we are not defending Sandeep Ghosh or anyone. Sandeep Ghosh is being called for.
Okay, let me just clarify that. This is misinformation. Does the BJP or Ramit Desai, do you want to counter that? I will allow you. I'm not taking away your time. I just want to clarify on this point. You're saying it's misinformation. I just want to clarify this point. Is it misinformation?
Madhav, as far as we know, this is not misinformation. There's a reason that the Apex Court also questioned this. But let's say
That
she's
is
right.
because
Let's
they
say
have
she's
collected
taking
it from
accountability
media.
for the fact that, this is misinformation.
they're collecting
But the
it from
fact
the
is that
media.
before this appointment, he was also passed on to another university,
Yes,
right?
another medical college. Just
Why
a few
was he not
kilometers
just
away.
fired? Why was he
Okay.
not just...
Yes.
Shashi Panja.
Again, Madhav, we are not defending that transfer. Absolutely wrong. It was done by the health department, which Chief Minister then said it should not be, and it was then revoked. It comes under Mamata Banerjee. Yes, but she had not signed, so it was revoked.
So who takes accountability,
Madhav,
ma'am?
we are all digressing
takes
from the main
accountability?
issue.
No, we are not digressing.
We are all digressing from the...
Not at all.
Madhav, we are all digressing from the main issue. Where are the rest of the culprits? What has CBI done? 6-7 days they are questioning the former principal. Why don't they arrest him? Take him into custody. Why is his polygraph not been done? Why was Sanjay Roy the accused who's been... His custody has been extended. Why is the polygraph which was to be done yesterday? Why was it postponed? CBI has to answer. We also want justice. We are fighting for the... You are bringing up Sandesh Kali.
Okay.
I will bring in Brijbhushan Singh. I will bring in Unnao and Khattar. This cannot go on.
Okay.
These are not political battlegrounds.
I
We
firmly
accept that.
believe,
So
I firmly believe, ma'am,
it's so
that
unfortunate, Mother.
It's fine.
Those who are to be experts and are supposed to be non-political have made it a political issue. Sandesh Khali, you are not aware. We are in Bengal. We know what Sandesh Khali was. That was a BJP smear campaign. Everybody knows. Sandesh Khali, Trinamool Congress won.
Okay.
Don't bring
Rohan
in
Gupta.
Sandesh Khali.
Rohan Gupta,
can
you want to
allow
respond to that?
Brijbhushan
Sandesh
to
Khali is a
continue
smear
as
campaign
an
by the
MP.
BJP.
There is no
And
protest.
if we bring up the Sandesh Khali, then there's Brijbhushan, other issues with the BJP won't be comfortable
See,
with.
if
Respond
they
to that.
say that even in RG Kar hospital issue, it is a conspiracy by opposition parties, I don't have anything to say. See, it's not about, today we are not discussing any mudslinging.
have
The
not
issue is,
said.
let me complete.
Maharashtra
Any
has
government,
said.
this can happen
We have
anywhere,
not said about
across the
Okay,
country.
Ma'am, let it, you asked him a question.
BJP government
You made an
said-
allegation. Let him respond to you. Let him respond to you. Yeah.
Your aggression will not, make you free out of this, what has happened in Bengal. Please listen to me. The issue is here, any government this happens, you have to be sensitive. If you see the whole issue, the way it has been coming from High Court to Supreme Court, the only message is they are trying to protect the principal. Rightly told, whether appointed OSD or not, but he was transferred. He should have been suspended immediately. Why protection to him? He had to file the FIR on the same day. These are the basic things. And still the government is protecting that. That cannot be taken. And again, the senior leader is fighting. See, it's about the moral responsibility. You are in public discourse. You are MP. You are MP of Indi Gadbandhan. And still you are fighting the case. What it shows that you are insensitive towards that. Any government this happens, it is a responsibility of this government to ensure justice to the victim. That is not happening in this case.
That's not happening. Accountability not happening in this case. And let me bring in Susieben Shah. because Susieben Shah, you're also the chief of the Child Rights Protection Commission.
Thank you.
The question that is being asked Susieben Shah over here is that the High Court has raised very serious questions, just as the Supreme Court has in the case of Kolkata, saying that why is it that there was no action taken on the school? Why is it the second victim's testimony is not taken? What about the police officers? You may have suspended them. Till now, it's been several days since their suspension. What kind of action is being taken against those who make the parents wait for 12 hours for filing such a case?
I completely accept the delay in latches. There we have failed our daughter. I completely agree to that. But also let me tell you, all my sympathies and sensitivities towards the family. But no sooner the government came to know about such a thing happening, we swung into action. On the same day, on the 16th, SIT was formed. I myself personally went to the commission, went to the school. Since I was personally there, immediately caught up an investigation, asked important and pertinent questions. Why POCSO should not be levied against the school management, not only limited to the administration. How a male, a contract employee could have access to girls' toilets. But we are not running into a banana republic. Proper show cause notice has to be given. Rules of natural justice has to be followed.
Then?
A proper and thorough investigation will be carried out.
Why is the High Court still asking you these probing questions?
Let me tell you this. As a prelude to that, an administrator has already been appointed. Sorry?
Why is the High Court then pointing out lapse after lapse? And after the High Court yesterday said, why has the school not been acted upon? Today, I'm told just a short while ago, now finally the case has been taken up against the school. Why has it taken so much time? It's been several days since we've been reporting the protests. But the police doesn't seem to be serious. In a POCSO case, no less.
No. Police, yes, the heads have to roll. Police have taken it absolutely in the most lackadaisical manner, and I am equally aggrieved.
What are we waiting for, ma'am?
I am equally aggrieved.
What are we waiting for?
Such a thing could happen.
Are we waiting for more violations to happen?
No, we are not waiting for anything. The SIT has been formed. Investigation is underway. Within 7 days, the report is going to come out. No one will be spared. You forget the school as long as the child is in uniform. It is a fundamental duty of every school to look after the child.
Right.
Therefore, but I would like to tell you one thing. As far as the political will is concerned, let me just complete. Allow me 2 seconds. See, for protection of women and children, there has to be a sure amount of political will. As far as this Mahayuti government is concerned, we have the required political will. Not only we formed the SIT, but I would like to put it on record. Then sometimes in 2022, there was a rape and death of a minor. In 40 days, charge sheet was filed. Within 6 months, the investigation
that's a separate case, ma'am. We're not discussing that case. I want Seema Malik to respond to you now. Seema Malik, are you satisfied with the response coming in from the government of Maharashtra?
No. Hold on. Allow me to complete. No, if you don't allow me to complete, this is not right.
Madam, past cases are fine. The outrage currently is about the lack of accountability in a case where there are protests happening. Entire stations are being blocked. There are serious concerns about this case. Please don't compare that we took action in one case. Therefore, violations in this case are okay. It's not an argument.
You can't fix accountabilities.
No, ma'am. What do you mean by you can't fix accountability?
Rules of natural justice has to be followed. Investigation has to happen.
Of course, investigation has to happen. But why aren't you taking action on these individuals who are responsible for the violation? We need time. Due process. Due process has to be followed. Please respond to her.
Yes, I'm responding to her. There are two things in this. There are almost 758 POCSO courts in the country, and almost 2.45 lakh cases are pending POCSO cases, and justice delayed is justice denied. And the lady had waited, a pregnant lady who was sitting in the police station. She waited for almost 12 hours with her small daughter. And then in the last, she was told that ye kahin bahar hua hoga about that thing when she showed the report and all. So this is something very.
Absolutely. Prathibha Prahlad, I want you to comment on this.
I've heard everybody.
And I think
Let me complete first. Let
Yeah,
me
okay,
complete
make your point.
first.
Okay,
I
quickly
want-
complete your
I
point,
want
please. Yeah.
something. And why there was no female attendant there. And then I want to talk about the bill. There was a bill about the crime against women that was passed in 220. Our government, MV, had passed that bill, and it was almost passed in both the houses of the assemblies, and it is waiting for the approval by the president. But nothing has been done about that.
Okay.
अगर वो होता तो शायद it would have been better. The situation that would have been better. So these are there.
Rohan Gupta,
There are
awaiting
many-
presidential
many-
assent.
many
Why has the bill
people
not been
from
passed?
RSS and BJP in the management of the school.
Yeah.
And I think they are trying to cover them.
Okay. There are BJP links to some of the managers of the school as well. Quickly respond
the
to that,
basic
and then I'll
question,
go to
like
Prathibha
the
Prahlad.
whole debate is around what should be the role of government. This can happen in any government, whether it is BJP, Congress, anybody. What is the intent of government? What is the role of government? They cannot be seen protecting the victim, protecting the culprit. They cannot be seen protecting the people who are trying to put some mud on it. Like if you compare the whole two incidents, the principal should have been sacked same day. What has happened here? He has been transferred. Number one. The people respond. The police were sacked same day. They were suspended in the same day. The action has been initiated. The school board immediately suspended. Same day, the action has been initiated.
No, but the High Court is asking questions. Why no case against
I'm
the
not
school?
saying no. See,
Why
please,
the second victim
any
statement not been
government-
recorded?
any
There are serious
government-
lapses in this case
definitely.
also.
Any government under which rule is happened, they are answerable. I am not saying that cannot be questioned. But what is the intention of the government? They cannot protect the people who are behind that. That is the basic difference between two incidents.
Okay.
Even
That's
today,
what-
even today,
everybody. This is for
the
Maharashtra also.
government of West Bengal, they are after the police.
No, it's
They are
not
trying to protect the police. Not only that, the other Indi Gadbandhan leaders, they are also protecting.
All right, I'll just come to you in a minute. Prathibha Prahlad.
I've heard everybody, and I just want to put some facts before you. And the facts of the case are, in any crime scene, there are first responders who are supposed to act as per protocol. What are the protocol guidelines? Did they act as per protocol? In both these cases, the first responders did not act as per protocol. The crime scene, like the Supreme Court observed, was not secured. Okay, and then the statements were not recorded from the people present there. What is the point in this principal resigning or being dismissed or whatever when he has to take fiduciary responsibility in the RJ case and in the school case, again, the principal and the teachers present there. And both of them are laying blame on somebody, an outsider. One is a civic volunteer with the police, and the other one is someone who is like a contract worker or a contract peon. So I don't understand why they're not taking responsibility and accountability for what happened under their watch in the premises of their establishment. One is a posh case and the other is a POXO case. Let's be very, very clear. And there are rules, there are laws by which they're supposed to act. There's also a handbook for guidelines as how to act, for crimes against women, released by the women, the Ministry of Women and Child Welfare. Nothing as per the guideline has been followed. Is there an internal complaints committee? No. Is there a district complaints committee, a local complaints committee? No. Everyone is shifting blame on somebody else. And so therefore, in both these cases, the outsiders had to come and protest for media attention and for other people to take attention. Now let's take the West Bengal case. Mamata Banerjee is a chief minister, so she is all-powerful. She is the home minister. The police is under her. She is the health minister, so all the medical hospitals are under her. And, she's everything over there. And then she is saying that, no, the blame is not on me. If the cops are on duty, you don't suspend them. Suspension is a very, very light punishment because they can be reinstated anytime. They have to be made accountable and put in jail, questioned as to why they did not act as per protocol. Why did they not file a zero FIR? You please tell me. There's something called zero FIR after the Nirbhaya Act came into existence. Why was that not filed? And a zero FIR, I heard yesterday, in the Supreme Court, Mr. Kapil Sibal saying that the parents filed the FIR late, after the post-mortem. Why should the parents file the FIR?
What is the principal doing?
What is the principal, the staff, everybody who's present there doing? And also, what is the police doing? Because the police, as per zero FIR, FIR can be, filed irrespective.
Absolutely.
You don't need anyone to
Shashi
come and file
Panja,
it.
I think you must respond to that. You know, number of lapses, what are the police doing, what are the principal doing are of course important questions. And it's all very well to come here and say we should not politicize. But Madam Mamata Banerjee herself is blaming the BJP, the left, the Congress for protests, for what's happened in the middle of the night. You know, the question is that even your political party and your leaders are making political statements. Mr. Uday Guha says we'll break the fingers. Is that a responsible statement for a minister to be making?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Madhav, I will also not get into the Badlapur case to say why Maharashtra government thinks it's a conspiracy. I will really not get into it. I will really not get into this also, that the peaceful protesters were fired upon or were stoned upon or how they were manhandled by the police. We are not getting into it because in Bengal there were peaceful protests for the doctors and which is essentially required. You have to dwell on a very important point which the Supreme Court said yesterday. And it says that no statements, politically or otherwise, should be made which would impact the entire volatile environment in the state. This is very important, Madhav. We cannot hear, even in the discussion, all technicalities are going to be looked after by Supreme Court. It's going to hear it again. It has called the police to be there on September 5th. Allow that to happen. Let's not speculate. Even CBI also has
question
to
of speculation, ma'am. We are merely reporting
CBI
the points being made, and it's not the first case, it's not the last case. The media is responsible and will report the observations of the bench. It's happened in a dozen and a half cases before. Niharika, I want you to come in on this. Just because it's an observation, there's no order. Does that prevent us from discussing what's happening? She says, don't prejudge the case.
Absolutely
are we prejudging what's happened?
There's a duality to this. Yeah, we shouldn't jump to any conclusions and we shouldn't castigate anyone just yet. But what we're asking is, where is the accountability? What we're asking is, who are the individuals to actually be investigated at every level? At the level of the police, people who delayed, who is to be investigated there? Surely there can be answers to this. At the level of, if there was any interference from the state government, any state body, the person who reinstated Mr. Ghosh, whose decision was that? Surely these are answers that are very simple to give. It's a one-name answer. It's a very simple answer. And ultimately, Madhav, what is required here is accountability at every level. At the level of the school, at the level of the hospital, at the level of the district authorities, at the level of the police, at the level of the state government. It has to go all the way up the chain. Because frankly, what we're battling for here is not simply these instances, tragedies though they are. Right. It is also the thousands of other instances that don't make it to the news. All of the protocols that are followed, if they are not followed on an instance that makes it to the news and makes it to thousands of people protesting, they will certainly not be followed in every other case that is out there. And those people will also wind up languishing. Those people will be sent back without FIR.
Let's quickly now take this across to the other data points that we're going to be discussing today. Over and above what's happened politically, let's take a quick look at the data. You know, what has really happened 12 years since Nirbhaya, when our entire legal framework was changed. Look at the number of cases in 2012. They were at 24,923. Post the enactment of the law, 2013, the data is at 33,000. It goes up further in 2014 to 36,000 and then starts coming down to 34,000 in 15. In 17, it's at 32,000. In 2018, it's at 33,000. In 2019, at 32,000. In 2020, coming down to 28. Again, rises to 31,000 in 2021. 2022, it's again at about 31,516. Let's look at the next kind of data that we have in relation to such crimes. This is as far as the conviction rate in India is concerned when it comes to rape. This is the number that we're looking at 25.5% in 2016, 32% in 2017, 27% in 18, 27.8 in 2019, 39.4 in 2020. 2021, the number is at 28%, 27.4% in 2022. And also, of course, if you can quickly compare the law, the earlier IPC provisions as well as the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita provisions, if you can quickly get that graphic up on the screen as well. This is as far as the definition is concerned. The age of consent increased to 18 years in the BNS and IPC. It is at 15 years. The next difference is that, or the aspect is in terms of the rigorous punishment from 10 years up to life imprisonment. This provision not being changed as far as the punishment is concerned. There's also, of course, life imprisonment and fine if a woman under 16 is gang raped. There's also life imprisonment and fine or death sentence if woman under 18 is gang raped as far as the BNS is concerned, and life imprisonment and fine or death sentence if woman under 12 years gang rape. That's a provision as far as the IPC is concerned. The big question that I want to open it up and ask all of our panelists now, is it time for another rethink as far as the legal framework is concerned? Miran Borwankar, or are current laws enough? Is it just the intent and implementation that's lacking?
Absolutely. The current laws are very adequate. Only thing is the implementation is poor, and political parties of all hue and color, they will criticize police, but when it comes to giving us resources, as against the international norm of 220 policemen per lakh of a population, we have about 150. So you blame us all the time, but you never give us resources. While we should have about 50 judges per million of a population, we have only 21. So why don't you give us more resources, more judges, more prosecutors, more forensic laboratories, and more police officers? You jump on us all the time and forget about us once the news are not there anymore.
Okay.
So I have a very strong point to make to all the political parties. Please, we have enough laws. Give us resources to implement those laws.
Right. Susieben Shah, you want to respond to that? There are enough laws, but not enough resources to implement. And thereby is the problem, because law and order, of course, is a state government subject, but of course, center will also have to take responsibility. Enough. But somewhere the resources have to be allocated if you have to expect the justice to be delivered.
I completely agree with Mrs. Borwankar. I would also like to add to what she's saying. We are it is not only the resources, it is not only the human resources, also the funding, but also there has to be a structure. A structure has to be created only for women and child, like a crime branch, where in each and every police station, a mini police station handling women and child cases. If it's a small police station, maybe a mini desk. Their only job is to attend to grievances, complaints and redressal of any complaints coming from women and children. Currently, what is happening under the JJ Act, there is a mandated that there has to be a protection officer, a child protection officer in each police station. But should there be a law and order situation? Should there be theft? Should it be VIP duty? The gentleman or the woman leaves her designated role as a woman and child officer and goes to the bandobast or what have you. As a crime branch, the woman and child officer has only and only to deal with complaints of redressing women and children. Let us understand, women and children are 70% of the population. 10 to 15% of the total crime is against women and children. We demand that. And as a child right chairperson of Child Right Commission, I've written a letter to our Honorable Home Minister, and I'm very, very confident that the Mahayuti government, ably led by our Honorable CM Eknath Rauji Shinde and Devendra Fadnavis ji, who are extremely sensitive and proactive towards security and safety of women and children. This
are you confident it will be implemented, Seema Malik?
We have to work towards a structure. We all together. We are all together in this.
Seema Malik.
We are asking for a resignation by the Home Minister of the Maharashtra, actually, and I don't think they will be implementing now. Itne din ho gaye, then why they are not implemented this now? And there are so many lapses in the laws. We know that. We know all that. The child abuse, the POXO cases. You see, this has happened in Akola also. I don't want to, there are so many things are there.
Madha, why don't you ask her to seek resignation of Mamata Banerjee?
See,
why the duplicity?
See, we are not,
why the duplicity?
This is not the duplicity or something. I'm just
but the same yardstick has to apply. A crime was committed there.
We are not asking for the resignation of the Chief Minister, but whenever Devendra Fadnavis is there,
I'm coming to Dr. Shashi Panja. Let Seema Malik complete a point, please.
See, whenever the Devendra Fadnavis is there as a Home Minister or something, there is some irregularities in all these things, and then
That's a very generic comment to make, ma'am. Any political party will start making comments like that. But Shashi Panja, please respond to what is being stated here by Susieben Shah.
Madhavji, we heard it once, I'm hearing it twice. A chairperson of a child rights commission, autonomous, has to maintain autonomy. And she is giving out political statements and try to praise the chief minister, etc. And she's asking Seema Ji that why don't you tell Mamata Banerjee to resign? I hope she had asked Yogi Adityanath to resign in UP. I'm appalled. Look at the political statements a child rights commission chairperson makes. Nevertheless, Madhavji, what we wanted to say after Nirbhaya, there was this Verma commission and they had very important suggestions. Now, for a speedier, quicker trial and laws have been amended, etc., which has already been mentioned. But I can tell you in Bengal, we went ahead with the fast-track courts for cases against women to be tried early. We have almost 52 of them. And we have these POCSO special courts, children's courts. We have them. We've implemented them. We know that. We are not saying we have achieved a brilliant situation. But NCRB data also...
No, ma'am, the point is, despite all of this courts, despite all of this infrastructure, if the basic policing and filing of cases does not happen on time, it does not make any difference. But you've asked a question of Susieben Shah. I'm going to give her a quick chance to rebut you. Susieben Shah.
You see, the chief minister is a constitutional head of the government. Right, so there is no question of whether politics or non-politics. Today also the lady who's sitting there as the minister is a result because she belongs to the TMC party. So where is the question of that? I mean, I don't understand where is politics coming into it. But what I'm trying to tell you is the intention matters. The political will matters. It is only because of the political will there can be safety and security of women. You can't run away from it. You accept the fact.
Okay. Yeah. Prathibha Prahlad, does this make sense? Does this argument make any sense?
No, I mean, I'm not even going to get into that argument because what I was trying to tell you was, we're asking whether the laws are adequate. There are enough and more laws in our country, but it's the implementation and execution of those laws that are lacking. And the point is that there was some 1,000 crore a Nirbhaya fund that was set up in 2012 when it happened. And the state governments are supposed to utilize the Nirbhaya fund to have, many physical kind of assets, like have women policing, we have first responders, have a safe line for people to call, then like I said, district committees and all that. According to statistics, I was just going through it today before coming here, none of the state governments have used more than 20 to 25% of the funds that have been allotted to them. Why? I mean, when the funds are available, you're supposed to do policing and you're supposed to protect women and children. You're not even using the funds properly. And then it also says that many UCs, utilization certificates are pending from the state governments to the union ministry. And so therefore, other funds have not been, given to them. So what is the point in having a fund? What's the point in having laws if there's no intention?
Absolutely. That's a serious question. Mumtaz Patel, why is this happening? Because it's not about any political party. Across states, this is a serious problem. Why would we have that fund? It's over a decade since the incident took place, 12 years in fact, and still we're talking about infrastructure problems. Surely it doesn't take 12 years for us to build infrastructure.
So exactly what my co-panelists said, that firstly, heads need to roll for accountability to set in. So that's very important. Secondly, laws are there, but nobody's implementing them properly. The resources are not being used adequately. So who's responsible for that? Obviously, the administration, the government, and it could be anybody. Like Rohan said.
But here are the arguments for accountability. Both state governments are defending the actions.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. So if she says that the Home Minister needs to resign and she says the Chief Minister needs to resign, I mean, whoever's responsible, wherever, who's in charge of the administration, they have to, whether it's in the school, whether it's in the police, whether it's in the government, I think heads need to roll. That is when accountability will set in. And this is a bigger, serious issue. And it's shocking to hear that not even 20% of the funds are being used. Where are the funds going? Who's responsible for that? Who's responsible for implementing that those funds get utilized properly?
Rohan Gupta, who's responsible for implementing these funds? Because, it's all very well to discuss West Bengal, Maharashtra. Just a few days ago, we heard what happened, in Ambedkar Nagar, where a 21-year-old hanged herself after a PSI refused to file a case against, of rape and instead forced the father to file a complaint without the details. she committed suicide. So there's apathy in all states, even in BJP ruled states.
See, absolutely. That's what, when I started my argument on this, I told very clearly, it's not about any particular government. It is about any government across the country. You have showed the number of cases. It is a cause of concern for everybody, standing here. Issue is, as one of the panelists rightly told, there are enough laws. What is important is implementation of those laws. When we were just talking about Nirbhaya fund, the parliamentary minister has answered that 70% of the allocated fund have been utilized. So this is the number which is spoken in parliament. I'm not arguing that. Important thing is, Madhav, that first of all, accountability. Whenever such incident happens in any state, the state government, rather than going into politics, trying to crush the issue, whatever has happened, they have to take responsibility of that, be accountable of that, and take prompt action. You are talking about politics. I think TMC panelist, spoke about Supreme Court comment that you should not do. Yes, agree. But that doesn't mean that government which is responsible, they are openly trying to save the culprit. You cannot be allowed that also. It is in public discourse. Parents of the girl, they are made sit there for 3 years without the body of that lady, and you are talking that you should not be politics. Where is politics here? If you are not accountable, the questions will be asked. Any government.
There's another aspect, Ramit Desai, about protection of our healthcare staff, whether it's doctors, whether it's nurses. We have to provide safe working spaces. Is there need for a law to actually protect all of them so that these kind of incidents, and we've seen incidents of other physical assaults also take place in the past?
Madhav, let me begin by saying that there is general apathy against women. This is not just about healthcare workers. Of course, they, need the kind of protection they do because of the kind of hours that they put in. But there is general apathy against crime against women. You've shown some data. Do you know that NCRB, and I'm sure you do know this, that state sends the data to the center. For years, they haven't sent the data. West Bengal government has not sent the data. 2016 to 2017, and correct me if I'm wrong, one of these years, they sent some women's trafficking data, which within 1 year, they alleged that from 3,000 convictions, it had come down to 300. If this is the kind of stellar work you're doing, then you should take out a paper and tell us how you've done it so that we can replicate it. Number two, when you defend or give these kind of statements, or there's no accountability laid on people who direct accountability needs to be laid on, then you're also emboldening people to do this over and over again because there is no deterrence and they feel that they have tacit support of the state government. That is very dangerous. Number three, this also gives a message to society. Now, what are you telling society? What are you telling men who possibly have this sort of a devious mindset that there's going to be no accountability? It takes a woman a huge amount of courage to go to a police station, file a complaint, do it alone. To be told that you wait here for 12 hours to, go and get, like Shahjahan Sheikh's case, go and get permission from him before we file it. These are serious problems. And I think this is what we need to talk about long term, not just case to case.
Okay. Shashi Panja, please respond to that. Why is the data not coming in, and how will it ever be a deterrent if you don't share the data?
There is, Madhav G, this very NCRB data has shown Kolkata to be the safest city in the years 2021, 22. Okay? So there will be data from NCRB, and we have not concocted this. Unusual biasness. If she gets reverting back to Sandesh Khali,
how does that in any way dilute the violations in this case?
Have the courage to speak about... No, Madhav, if you have allowed her, allow her to speak about Hathras, Manipur, how has been accountable? Has Viren Singh told to resign? Has Kuldeep Sengar been told to resign? Has Bilquis Banu's perpetrators, who was released from the jail and garlanded by the BJP people, have you all questioned it? I didn't want to indulge in whataboutery. Sandesh Khali, that man is in jail. We are not defending Shahjahan Sheikh. Do not judge. Do not judge wrongly.
Okay.
I am telling you, Madhavji, this is a very wrong statement. I highly object to it.
Okay.
And Madhavji, so many railway accidents and deaths happening all over the country. Have you asked the Union Rail Minister to resign? The representative of the party is sitting in, others are sitting. Why? Those deaths are not deaths.
Okay.
90 rapes happening every day in this country.
Okay, I've got your point, ma'am. Rohan first.
Counter question is not...
Got your point, yeah.
Counter question is not answer to the question. It's as simple as that. It is your government. You have to be accountable. She spoke about Kuldeep Sengar. He is behind the bars. I'm talking about other Kathua case where the convict Lal Singh, he was accused He fought election on the ticket of Congress party. What is this Gathbandhan doing? There cannot be double standards. Again, I am coming to the main point. If you are into government, you have to take responsibility with humbleness. You cannot question other governments. Can this happen in this? No, that is not the time.
Right.
You are just trying to. You are saying you are that inciting politics.
But accountability has to be a two-way street. You can't demand accountability of TMC and then say we will not be accountable. That's
absolutely.
the question.
Everybody, even Maharashtra, definitely they are accountable and they have shown. I think Susieben clearly told that it is a responsibility of government, and whenever they came to know, immediately action has been taken. Absolutely, there cannot be question of intention of any government if you want to ensure that there is no question asked by opposition party.
All right.
The action was not taken immediately in the Maharashtra.
Yes. Yes, and I think that's the point. That's the point we're making. Why there was no action taken immediately, why there are attempts at linking it to politics, and why when protesters raise their voice, is it the same action that comes in from the state government to try and stop the protests from taking place? I think those are some very, very serious questions. Can we afford for our police forces across the country to behave in this manner? Because these cases have entirely shocked the country. However, what's even more shocking is the kind of defense coming in, and that's where, in fact, this becomes a national debate. We'll have to leave it there. Dr. Shashi Panja, Susieben Shah, Rohan Gupta, Prathibha Prahlad, Miran Burwankar, Niharika Karanjawala, Rami Desai, Mumtaz Patel and Dr. Seema Malik. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us this evening.